Hello there. I thought a little update might be in order at this point. What I've been doing, although it seems like it's kind of randomly jumping from one thing to another, uh, is adding little bits and pieces of the kinds of things that I know that I'm going to want and need. Um, Not only for this user assist list thing, which I've still not done, but for other things as well. So one of the things I added in my registry class, uh, one more function really. I have this enum names, which I changed the way it works. In fact, I don't need these comments. It used to take a D word, just a D word. Now it takes a D word ref, and this is like if you use those fancy prefix hint things. I don't know what they are. It's like in, out, something like that. Yeah, in, out. That's not what I want. Valid. Valid means, I think, what's valid mean? These don't actually have any definition. They're just supposed to remind you of something. Oh, there's an else here. I don't know what the if is. Oh, if it's MIDL or whatever this prefast definition. Prefast. If you're running the MIDL compiler, I suppose those things gain meaning, but I don't see all of them in here. It's just a few. Anyway, MIDL doesn't use most of those things. I see. Underscore SAL. That's something understood by the MIDL compiler. MIDL, Microsoft Interface Definition Language. I should have it in my path. Yeah, there it is. Now what you do is this thing can take C code and turn it into that special COM interface definition script, which looks a lot like C, but it's not. I mean C++. Anyway, if that's not true, it's regular code. These things don't resolve to anything. They just help you read code and understand how the arguments are supposed to be used. And an in-out means that it's a D-word type. This is a D-word reference type, which is meant to be is used as a parameter, but it's also returned. It's also, but really, this is in or out. I think is more appropriate. But anyway, you have to specify something valid for this before passing it in. And it may be overwritten with something. So when you do enum names, like this is to do with the registry. So this might take a while. I'm finding sometimes it takes forever for that thing to start. These are values, right? Or sorry, these are name value pairs. Here's the name, here's the value. these things are keys. So you got key, name, value. Enum names is for a given key. So if I went to this key and did enum names, I should get nothing. There aren't any names here except for the default name, which is nameless. By the way, if you didn't know, initially the registry didn't have anything but this default value. That is, the key was the only identifier, and the value was always a string. It was only later on that all this extra stuff got added, so now there's a difference between key and name, right? So what I wanted to be able to do is, I already have this for walking through the name value pairs, and I would specify like I want just string values. Now I'm not sure if it'll actually work. I need something that has a mixture. Try it. Something that has a mixture here. This has got binary, and it's also got a string, right? So suppose I want to I just want the D word things, right? The names of the D word values, not the actual data, just the names. That should work. I think I can leave that there safely. That's one of my keys, so I just need to say notepad queued. Is that it? Yeah, it's the default here goes under my special key. Debug for debug, and this if it's not, and then I specify a sub key, and that should take me to that one. Oh, hang on a sec. My the database, the Intelli database, is completely messed up. If this would ever quit. Maybe I paused it. Alright. Now I started typing there and the focus disappeared. I don't know if it has to do with Visual Studio, but my guess is probably. So now it's the Zen thing. Okay, it seems to know what project. I think I had a whole bunch of windows. See, look at them all loading up. I should close them all. That'll speed things up. Now once this gets done, it's actually pretty fast. It looks like it's going to take forever, but it gets to about here and then zips along. I changed some stuff, obviously, and I changed so much stuff that its view of the layout of the classes and projects was so far out of sync that it couldn't find a way to take what it already. It should, it should take that step. If it's too complicated, then delete what I've got, start over again. Come on, I know you got it. Come on. It's got nothing. How is that possible? I did nothing's working. Alright, let's try it again. Well, I'll pause this until that's working. I don't know. I got it working. I don't know how, but it seems to. It's hooked itself back in. Okay, now what I wanted to show you, what I wanted to try was this thing, enum names. I want the reg keyword names. Well, let's say binary first. DW dir name. That should compile at least. Should. Missing bracket. It's true. Missing more than that. This thing returns false when it comes to the end. So in running under the debugger, I'll just step over right now. Oh. Now see, this is if this was a guess. I assumed that if I asked for, I assumed this thing worked the way that I wanted my thing to work. So that tells me now that what I have to do is, if it's not reg none means that you don't care, you'll take anything. So now I have to say if that is false, imply just means A imply, but it's like if A then B. So now if the condition is if the type specified was not reg none and the type found, then the type this should be true, but it's not. If it's not true, but I don't want to write it using that macro. Type found if it's not none and the type found was not equal to it, Then I want to continue and go on to the next one. Now, this I only want to do in the case when this is equal to none. And if it's at the end, I'm going to do that at the end before return. Oh, I am going to return. So it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. Then I'm going to indicate what I did find. Now I continue, and I get the next one. Eventually, I'm going to find an index which gives me, or not, I might not find anything. Gives me the right type, and then I'm going to return it, or I'll hit the end. Now, but this thing has a loop. I started with DW. This gets plus plus. That should be okay still. The DW, when this is called, what happens to the order? First, it checks the condition, right? If the condition is true, it does this. Then it increments that, and then so this is still a valid loop, fortunately, because I have that loop elsewhere. I wouldn't suggest this is the way that one should do it. Because DW is skipping and hopping around it, and it looks like this is only incrementing DW once per loop, but it should still work. I'll fix the rest up later. I want this DW to be incrementing by 1, right? On the other hand, there's another number that I have to pass in to this thing to get it to go to the next one. Alright, so stepping up to here. Now it's in an infinite loop because I'm not incrementing it in here. The thing to be implemented, DW index. Is that the same as this? Yeah. I see. So now, now that's a problem because now this has to be a reference. But nobody needs to know. Also an in-out. The code doesn't change, right? This code, it doesn't know it, but DW is going to jump up by a large number. So now they're all references. Previously, none of them were. I wasn't really expecting to handle it. For my purposes, I never have situations like where there's a mixture where I'd want to go and loop through. I only have used this for my string list. But now I want to actually examine the registry more closely. Dual font. Now why did it jump out? There's 2 in there. Oh, current font and dual font. I didn't get current. Try that again. So it's correct in that it's found one of them. Index is 0. That's right. Increment index to 1. Continue. Index. Oh, index is 1. Type found is binary. Now I found a 4. So we got 2. It seems to be working. So let's see what happens when we get to here. Index is 10. Doesn't look right, index being 10. Counted, but it doesn't have to be in this order. This is alphabetic, right? So that's got nothing to do with anything. And the name, current font, that's correct. Okay. Now it says default font. I just put it as current font. It's coming back default. Now there's a bug for you. How did that happen? It's got to be to do with the way I've written this, right? And that's why I wouldn't recommend you. Oh, there's your bug. Now I don't understand why that is not a warning. I got every single warning in the book on, and it didn't tell. There was a semicolon here, right? Conditional. I think they used to have that warning, and they got rid of it because you can't have it with do while. I should get 2 this time. Alright, so that worked. Now if I change my type to string, I don't think I'll get anything, even though there's always the default one, the default string. You don't need this function to find it. So you just pass null in for the default. Nothing. Good. That's correct. And then D words or a bunch. So now that's a pain. You wouldn't, if you wanted to go search through, you wouldn't want to, first check this type, then check that type. There might even be types that you've never heard of, or there might be new types that come along next year. And so this method would be no good. I mean, it'll only be partially good. Okay? So instead, what I have is put none. Okay? Now, what I'd like to do is give the name, and let's say the type here in brackets, right? And for that, I use my handy thing. all this, what you see here is a macro that I've had for quite a while now, and I found very useful for making an array of number to string, especially for number defines or enums or whatever. Convert a number to a string representation for the number, and so if I do that, that immediately gives me a function called reg type to stir. Does it come back as a string or as TS string? LPCT string. Okay. They are constant literals, so you can treat them as strings. Oh. I'll try to do two things at once. Now if I say none, then it's going to return on everything. But I've got to keep refreshing it back to none. You're allowed to list at least your one type. So oh no, that won't, it's not going to reinitialize it. It's still no good. If it's none, then it's going to return every one. It should. Although, as you saw, I just changed that code. And it's going to, and this thing is going to tell us what the type is. Now, this is just a macro. There's nothing, no magic here. Okay. MRU max entries is a D word. Set it back to none. Try again. Oh, error return. But you can see it's working. Put a slash here. Slash M. Run it outside of the debugger, so there's no batch file issues. Then we'll get a nice printout. Almost nice. Oh, I'll make it nice. But make this fixed width, and these will line up. Of course, it's not big enough. That looks like 26 maybe. Doesn't matter. You saw it there. Now that's a useful. Enum names is now a bit more useful because you can enum all of the names, right? And you can find out what their types are. These ones are binary. These ones are D words, so you know how to retrieve them, right? And then the new function is keys. I can now I now have a similar style function. Hopefully I don't have to turn all this into refs. No, there's only one type of key. The interface is exactly the same, and as a added bonus, the system time structure, which is not one of those things you have to throw away. It's that you have to make a special interface to. It's already in a nice format. The one that is in a format that you'd want to get rid of is file time. Anything in a file time structure, that's just a number. It's not meaningful in terms of human meaningful. So let's take instead of that one. Well, does it have subkeys? It has subkeys. So let's try. I don't need type key, and it's going to return me system time. By the way, I've been writing this down equals 0, and for my whole life I thought that zeroes out the entire structure. It doesn't. It zeroes out part of it for sure, but not necessarily all of it, and it's something I discovered recently. So I want keys, right? Really sub keys, going from 0 to however long, and that's the name, and we want our system time, and we're going to print out sub key equals, give it quotes, and in brackets we'll put the system time. I don't want to do padding. It turns out I already have a thing that will turn that into something readable. We don't need to do that. There are no types. So we should get 1, 2, 3, 3 subkeys. And you can imagine you can just keep going on and on, just like you do with directories and files. Now, I need this functionality for a couple reasons. Oh dear. That's probably right. It's probably not supposed to be asserted, just a return false. No key. Right. Index. Okay. That's not an error condition. That just means there is no subkey at that index. But this is new code. Now, if you have a special, this thing returns one of those evil file time things, which is not really a structure at all. It's just a 64-bit number. And this function I have, I've had and have now again, converts a file time, which is always in universal, like Greenwich time, to a local time, system time that's local. Oops. Did I just do some? Oops, if not equal to success. So it should give it did give the 3, as you saw. So that's 2 utilities I needed. There's the XML utility thing for reading XML files. I made a few more changes with that. Okay. Now the last for this one, these look right. I might change this to give like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like this one has. That type of output. In fact, yeah, I'll do that too. So little things, but they're handy. Okay, so those are the keys. Now if you wanted to walk the subkeys, all you do is take this reg notepad and let's say I wanted to take the notepad key and look at the sub key. I do that. Come on. And what I could do, for instance, is like what I had before. Sub key, not DW. Names with it. Not key name, value name. And I want any type. I'll have to keep refreshing that because I can't put it as a. Oh, actually, no. I need to use it too. Unfortunate. Now what do I need here? I want to write out, same as before, the name and then the type. It's not saying anything. Whoops. Value name and rate 20. And then it's reg type to stir type. So we need a cat. And that should do it. It's not a lot of code to do something like that now. And there's one key in particular that I want to enumerate and go through the values and everything. And I think you can probably guess what that key is. But let's see about this one. So here we've found a subkey common dialog, which I'm going to change to, which I've opened up. I don't think it has anything. Next one. And now this should have a bunch of things. It's got value 001, this is binary. Just got, it should have at most, I think, 500 of those. /n /n. I think my limit was not infinity. I'm pretty sure I set it to 500. Might have been hex, so it doesn't really matter. Looking at these thumbs, I think, oh, what am I missing here? Oh yeah. The registry is very fast for lookup and enumerating. If you're not doing anything with the data, it's instant, see? It's even got a subkey. No. Oh yeah, here's a subkey that has this many values. I could have indented them. It would look better. Alright, now as far as the XML thing, how much have I used in time? Yeah, I used a lot of time, but now you've seen that, okay, I have these things, and that's good, and I'm able to go through and walk through the registry. As far as the XML thing, I did some more work on that, and well, really should look at the header. Although you don't need to know the details, I've changed it now so that the list here, that thing, the inaccessible list, I'm no longer using that technique. I don't need to. What I've done is I've invented another kind of structure called a tree, which has a private list in it, right? And although I'm still using node list object, I may change that eventually. This little tree thing, not node, sorry, but tree, which is here, is a thing that can be a smart pointer, and it has the node list in it, and the head node part, and it does the managing of the list. So now that makes it since it's a smart pointer, that means I can now copy these things. I can copy an XML object without having to duplicate the data. And this is conveniently put into one single object. And then these are sort of object-specific things where we are currently. Now I don't know where. If I use this in more than one place, I might not need that. There is no current place as far as this thing is concerned. So yeah, I'll get rid of these. I only use them. They're only used during some kind of search or creating the structure in the first place. One of the things that I have done, again, using that alternate algorithm agreement, but I've kind of sort of got it backwards. The find first node function here, which returns some kind of p void, does so. The way it finds that node is quite simple. It given a path, right, and using the list, which contains all of the nodes. The simplest way is to just walk through the list and find one with the right path, right? Or find the first one with the right path. And that's what this this does. If we have a position already, then we've got to find that one and advance to the next. Otherwise, we go to the head and then walk through until the path, these paths are the same, right? M-stir path equals to normalized. Now, normalized path is has no slash at the end, but one slash at the beginning. Now, I have an assertion here that the position found is the same as the one that I would have found using an alternate method. Same input. The alternate method uses what would be the efficient search, like not going through. If you're going through all the nodes, then you're going through and you're looking at things that don't even have to start with the same, the same path, letters, or whatever in the tree, and you're looking at every node, even though it would be easy to decide you don't have to check down this path because it doesn't even have the right name. So the alternate mode is really the method, is really the method that I would want to use in the end anyway. And the way that works is using a tree search. So here we get given this. I'm just looking for the node, and this is node based. This has nothing to do with the list, but I've been given a position in a linked list, so I've got to find the node. And I have a function already that does that. If this is null, then I just get the firstborn from the tree's head node. Okay, now each node has an associated path. And what I have here is beginning and end. End is what I'm looking for, and this is what I'm starting with, okay? Now, if the end node, what I'm looking for, if it doesn't start out with the beginning part, right? Like if the end is, I don't know, hello world, this is path, right? How do I make sure that this isn't going to do something? Right? So if that's the path, or in the end that's what we're looking for, and the beginning path, the one that we're starting at, happens to be well, it could be this, but I'm ignoring the x's. If we start with This is where the two things differ. It was hello world, and I've got hello there, right? If that happens to be our where we're starting, then we're definitely not going to find that because we're already off in the second word, right? So in that case, we can give up and we're done. Okay, so now that is a head equals comparison. It is this, forgetting about the x's, this is the check that I'm doing, right? Is that if that is the head of this equal to this? If that's false, then quit. If that's true, if their lengths happen to be the same, then that makes them identical, and so then we're done as well. Otherwise, what we want to do is we want to go by siblings. So after, if this happens to be world instead, then we search for a sibling of world called this and ignore all others. Whereas the other search wouldn't ignore the others, it would check everything, right? And then we just keep doing that process over and over again until we find one with the first one with the exact same path. Now, so this involves a kind of recursion thing, which is this find first sibling thing, which walks through siblings. If we might find something, we might not find something, right? If no child of P sibling match the path, then we continue on with the remaining siblings. Because remaining siblings might, okay, so here I found suppose I found a sibling match, right, with this, okay, okay, this is the full search, so I find a match, but then that tree died out. It's supposed to be is, but suppose I found this, and all of them, out of all of them, I didn't find is here. It's just wasn't found. Well, we don't want to give up. We want to go back and see if there's another this, right? And that's what this step is doing. Remaining path is how much of the path is remaining. I'm going back. Beginning, we'll have remaining path, stir toke, slash. Okay, that's just the next word in the search, right? This is using remaining path. Here, I see, yeah, that we're going back to the beginning, right? Like calling this function with the same value, but starting at P, sibling a new root, right? we're doing is we're going back and we're going to the sibling of world, I suppose. Anyway, in order to prove that that is working, I have constructed an example that's where there's going to be a miss, and you've got to go on to the next one. Where is it now? Visual attributes. Visual here. See what I've done is I want to find visual attributes icon, right? And I've put in another visual attributes which doesn't have an icon, and then in between there I put something called favorites, and then another visual attributes which does have icon, and it finds it. Okay, if it was the first one that comes up, no problem. If it's not, I have to be sure that that worked. And I knew it wouldn't because I wasn't doing this step of going to the next sibling, essentially of the original one. Yeah. So now this will do a full search because it's recursive. It'll bring us back into the same function with a different root. The root is p sibling, which would be something like hello world this, something that has a hello world this, but it's not what is it? How do I get here? The remaining path wasn't empty, we didn't find it. The remaining path empty means that we found it. If it's null, we didn't find anything. Find first sibling is this function, and the first thing it does is it takes the firstborn from the root given where our sibling is from. The beginning path is this root path. Take that firstborn, chop off. I don't know. It's something you gotta go through slowly, but it works, trust me. Here, I'll just show you it working. The assertion doesn't fire. Alright. The assertion doesn't fire, and it doesn't find, it means that the search worked correctly. The highly efficient search worked correctly, but it's the one that's clear. This is clearly more difficult to understand and follow. But really, this is the one I want to be used as a default. In release build, it should use the quick search, not the slow search. The slow search would be left there as a double check. So it did find it. See, it didn't quit when it couldn't find icon under this visual attributes. This visual attributes has no icon. So it had to have gone to favorites, and favorites is nothing, skip over that. And then I found another visual attributes icon. Now what I've got to do is add more stuff to this and get the next, see if the next functionality works properly. right? If I want the second visual attributes icon element in this XML file, well, that would be like if there were another one of these, I think. It's complicated because there could be another visual attribute. It's got to check for it in here, and if it doesn't find a second one in here, there might be another visual attribute down the road after this one that has two icons, but I wouldn't want to return that one because this one certainly doesn't follow right immediately after that one, right? So I don't need to do anything about that then, because that's just a messed up XML file, right? If I know that I need to find this particular group, then I would have to find, specify. I want specifically the third visual attributes icon 2, right? Because otherwise the first one's gonna be found, and the search for the second one won't be related. This one is not related to the other one, and you wouldn't want that returned. Okay, that's a lot. That's my progress report. Getting all these things working properly is important. The fact that these are copyable now makes it easier for me to deal with them, like I'm doing here. Right here, what I've got just before I go, I guess, is a thing that goes through this key, folder descriptions for Explorer, which is a list of subkeys, and then I'm going through the subkeys and finding out what those keys contain. And sometimes those things have special values. Like one of them would be it's a relative path, right, to something. So it doesn't represent a full path, it represents a relative subdirectory, and you can see it might be like favorites or something, right? That's a relative path or something. Here's what they all are. Sometimes you get name, category, relative path. This one's got a relative path and a parent folder. So if you get to the folder, you got to take the parent plus the relative. This one also has relative and parent. This one has just name. And these all represent paths, and they all have category. Some of them have category. I'm pretty sure 2 means that it's a path. Then there's parsing name. And sometimes these things have more of this kind of junk, right? So you have to go and look back again. So anyway, I'm slowly creeping on the point where I have enough little tools to put this thing together. See ya.